My name is Dennis Jamelka and I'm with Ful-O-Pep Feeds. Today we're going to talk about the Muy Grande deer feeds that we launched this January. Today we have with us Dr. Greg Pollard. Talk a little bit about the design that went into making these feeds, about the different ingredients. We have 4 basic feeds to fit every aspect of feeding: a 20%, 2 20%, and 2 16% rations. There's some economical, but then our premium ones, if you really want the antler development, that's kind of what we are really banking on with Dr. Pollard. What went into the feeds when we designed them?
Well, the primary factor that we used was safety of the animal and maximum production. So we want to make sure that any customer that buys your deer feed that is expecting to harvest an animal at 6.5, 7.5, even 8.5 years of age, that animal is going to last and it's going to be productive during that time period. There's a lot of foo-foo dust on the market, and a lot of things that come and go throughout the course of growing an animal from 8 years of age, or birth to 8 years of age. We've basically designed these feeds where they're very consistent, nothing changes. The formulations are consistent 1 year to the next year, and we've designed it to be highly digestible, highly available energy sources, and then also have the right amount of protein and the right amount of amino acids coming into them.
So pretty much everyone has the same ingredients. It's just a matter of how they're put together.
For the most part, yes. The big differentiating factor is when you look at the premium line versus maybe some of the more economical feeds, would be that the premium line is going to have a full complement of fiber sources that are highly digestible, that help to protect that animal as it consumes feed over the course of the feeding period. It's also going to have a higher quality amino acid source. We don't necessarily talk about amino acids very often when we consider feeding deer. We just talk about protein, whether it's 16, 20, 18, whatever. But the amino acids are really important. Deer do not digest feeds the same way that a cow does or a sheep does. They're not very efficient at rumen fermentation. So when we say, hey, we're going to feed protein and we're going to assume that it's going to get all the right amino acids out of it, we can't rely on that with the deer. We need to make sure that we provide those amino acids to the deer from the ingredients.
When you're saying amino acids, it's a blend of different proteins.
Yes.
Because
So
each protein has a certain amino acid profile, correct?
exactly. So when you look at, let's just take the 2 premiums feeds that are out there. We use fish meal. And a lot of people say you can't feed fish meal to a deer because they can smell it, they can taste it, and they just won't eat it. Well, that would be true if you used a very poor quality fish meal. But we use a high quality fish meal so that we incorporate into that diet the most readily digestible, highly available amino acids that also match what the body needs. We also use some synthetic amino acids, primarily lysine and methionine. And then we use high quality protein sources, soybean meal and cottonseed meal, to provide the rest of the protein or the amino acids. And the reason we use those 3 is so that over the course of a day or a week, but a 24-hour period, if you want to think of it in those terms, is that the amino acid level or the nutrient level in the bloodstream never dips, never peaks. It stays consistent across that feeding period. And why that's important is because that animal is going to be growing antler 24 hours a day. So we want to make sure that that antler is never starved of nutrients. So we use the individual amino acids so they can get a rapid boost of lysine and methionine, which are very important. And then we use the protein meals so that they get a secondary kind of following of amino acids. And then we use the fish meal to hit all the amino acids that the protein meals may be missing, or that lysine and methionine